Have we got you curious? Yes, that pileated visited our feeder just a little while ago. We'll be with you in a minute. Enjoy the birds until we start. Good morning and welcome to Coffee with the Birds. I'll introduce myself in a moment when I get myself on the screen, but you all didn't show up to see me. You showed up to see the birds at the feeder, and we have a feast for you today. The birds are going nuts on the feeders today, and we've got a great setup with great tech support from Rick over here and Jess, and we're hoping to help you guys all have a wonderful experience enjoying the birds. Hopefully you've got your cup of coffee ready to go and a donut. I do. My choice today is sour cream glazed donut with some simpatico coffee, and we'll get started. These birds are hungry and I am as well, so I'm going to get started on my donut. But why don't we pull up the first screen there, but we're going to not linger on the PowerPoint long there, Jess. I'm not seeing it. Oh, it's not plugged in. This is a minor technical difficulty compared to before, and you know what? What did I just see? Switch the feeder back. Switch the there's a red pole. There's a red pole on number 4. There's a common red pole on number 4 on the bottom right, Rick. Sorry, we're going to interrupt this introduction for the bird of the day so far. Hopefully it's still there. Oh, it is. Bottom left. Bottom left. It just went down to the ground and up. We've got our first. Oh, it's on the ground underneath number 4, Rick. Common red pole is at our feeder. On the ground. Oh, he just flew. We'll see if we can get you on it. I lost him for a moment. We'll watch for him to return. He was on number 4, and then he dropped down to the ground. So there's a common red pole. That's the first one we've seen this season out here, at least myself. I know somebody else saw one a while back, but if it shows back up, we'll interrupt whatever we're doing to show you the common red pole. So there he is. There he is. He was just on camera on number 4 on the right-hand side by those goldfinches. Kind of blocked by whatever that is on the right is where he was. Pardon us for this exciting bird moment right off the bat. Coming on swinging. The birds have been giving us quite a show today, so you may not be seeing a whole lot of me, and that's all right. But I will give a quick introduction. Why don't you, while we're waiting for that guy to show back up, go ahead real quick to the introduction screen. Good morning. Oh, we're not on. Exit it and come back in. You good? Good, Rick? Okay, there we go. There we go. Welcome to Coffee with the Birds. My name is Curtis Dykstra. If you want to put me in there too. Sorry, we're covering up your little logo there, Rick. Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with the Birds. My name is Curtis Dykstra, Parks Naturalist with Ottawa County Parks, and I want to welcome you to the third installment of this Coffee with the Birds live stream. We're here at the Nature Center at Hemlock Crossing County Park in Ottawa County, Michigan, and we are gathered together for an informal time to enjoy coffee, pastries, and of course, the birds. We're going to talk about what birds we're seeing at the feeder, and we've got cameras set up at several different feeders, so we'll check those out and what's going on. I have received some questions and curiosities and sightings and things from other viewers that I'll address through the morning here as well. But if you have other additional questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll try to get to them best that we can. Just want to thank our sponsors real quick. There we go. Yep. Awashanong Islands Audubon Society in the Grand Haven area for their donations to help feed the birds. Friends of Ottawa County Parks provided funds to purchase hot drinks for everyone who purchases a Mug Club membership. That Others May Know and Kestrel Imagery, who our tech support, Rick Veldman, is involved with both of those businesses. That Others May Know works to capture the wisdom of parents and grandparents in video format. So they interview people about their life's history and put videos together to honor their legacy. So if you are interested in that, go to thatothersmayknow.com. Kestrel Imagery is also aerial imagery, as well as there's a lot of bird shots on there too, but you can visit that at kestrelimagery.com. So thank you to those sponsors. And last but not least, thank you to our Coffee with the Birds Mug Club members for 2021. Raise your mugs if you have it with you. Raise your mugs. We thank you for your support by purchasing a Mug Club membership, which supports this program and feeding the birds at the feeder here at Hemlock Crossing. Congratulations also to Emily Torga on winning the photo contest, which her photo is featured on the mug, as you can kind of see there. And congratulations also to Judy Manning, Doug Kuiper, Martin Blanchard, and Chris Sprick on their photos in the honorable mention category. We had some great photos this year. Thank you for your submissions, and it's not too early to take pictures for the 2021 photo contest, the winner of which will be featured on the 2022 mug. Go ahead and switch. Okay. I think that takes us to viewing the birds, doesn't it? While we're watching the birds, I'll give you a little brief. If you're not familiar with the Mug Club, a purchase of the Mug Club will get you this mug. It's $25. You get this mug as well as some other perks along the way, such as 10 hot chocolate and hot cider packets for use at home, event reminder magnet. Of course, there's only one more event after today, March 6th. A Michigan Birds checklist, a membership card, entry into members-only door prize drawings, and more. There'll be 2 member-only bird walks, one in the spring, one in the fall. We got to work out with Emily where to go and maybe a date on that. So we'll be connecting with you. The photo contest winner gets to choose those things, the date and the location. And hopefully these perks will also evolve and change as our pandemic situation changes and our sponsors can come through on some perks for everyone. So hang in there. If you want to purchase a Mug Club membership, there's a link in the description of this video that will take you to the Coffee with the Birds information page. And there is information there on how you can purchase your Mug Club membership. Also on that page is a way to join the Birding Update email list. And so check that out on that same web page if you want to sign up and receive emails, notifications of this program and all other bird-related things here in Ottawa County. We'd love to have you on our email list. All right, you know what we're going to do is we're going to scan the feeders. And you know what? It's amazing. Since we were first showing you the flurry of activity, things, and that's why they're showing me on here, and the one bird that's out there is a dark-eyed junco. The feeders have been vacated for a moment. I'm not sure if a Cooper's hawk came through or not, but what we have here is a dark-eyed junco, just flew off. That's a wintertime visitor. On feeder 1, we've got a chickadee that just came in. We'll leave it on number 1 there because we got some come and go traffic there. Yes, while things are quiet here, Rick is reminding me, we need to talk about what we saw earlier today. Because I had a first. I think we all had a first. There's a downy on number 10, if you want that. And that is, I saw 4, count them, 4 species of woodpeckers at one time. Can you pull that picture there, Jess? So Jess has got a picture pulled up. If you want to switch it to the PowerPoint, there's a picture. This was taken earlier this morning with my iPhone, so it's not great quality. But if you look up in the upper left corner, you can see a downy woodpecker right above the 4. All 4 woodpeckers, there's a downy woodpecker on the branch. If you look on the suet in the foreground, there's a hairy woodpecker on the left. There's a red-bellied woodpecker on the right. And last but not least, certainly not least, the pileated woodpecker on the suet cake in the back. And here's a better picture. Yes, Rick took that one instead of my iPhone. This is from this morning. Pileated woodpecker. The pair came in to feed. Both of them fed for a bit. One on number 5, and then it flew off. And then the male, this is the male, came in and fed on number 10. You can tell it's a male because he's got a red mailer stripe leading from the rear end of his beak down his cheek. And also the red on his crest goes all the way down his forehead to his beak. So that is the male pileated woodpecker. Thank you for getting such a great shot, Rick, and sharing that with us. But all 4 woodpeckers at one time. Actually, when we were setting up yesterday, we saw the pileated woodpeckers as well. So we're hopeful maybe they'll even come back during our session. But if not, we wanted to at least share that with you. Mm-hmm. Can you put it on that downy woodpecker? There's a downy woodpecker on number 10 right now, and he's absolutely frozen still, and that may be giving us a clue as to why we're not seeing traffic at the feeders right now. There may be a hawk in the area. When woodpeckers, nuthatches, and other birds freeze, sometimes even on the bottom of a branch, and they don't move, they're actually trying to stay hidden. Movement attracts attention to predators like Cooper's hawks. And so if they can stay still, it attracts less attention, and hopefully they don't get picked off by the hawk. It looks like things have eased up a little bit, and there are now 2 downy woodpeckers. There's one on the feeder that you're looking at here, feeder number 5. This is the raw suet feeder, and there's also one over on number 10. While we're waiting for some more bird traffic, I did want to ask a question. I am really curious just where everybody is viewing this from. Is there anybody outside of Ottawa County? Is there anybody outside of Michigan? Is there anybody outside of the United States? Who knows? I'd love to hear, chat, your location for us so we can share where people are viewing this from. We're always curious to know where our reach has gotten to.
I know we've got some red poles in Fremont.
Oh, great. Red poles in Fremont. We've got a red poll here this morning, and I've been seeing some other reports around. I know I saw a report in Jenison. I see a report in Borculo area. Who else out there is seeing common red polls? If you want to put that slide up, the Finch report one, then we can flip to that if it's not interesting at the feeders. So the red poll seems to be the one Finch holdover from this Finch invasion year that we've had. And they seem to be pretty consistent at a variety of locations. So center bottom there, common red poll. This season has brought us pine siskins, evening grosbeaks, even white-winged and red crossbills. But right now, I haven't seen any sightings of those, just common red poll. If you have seen any of those other finches, let us know in the comments. Let us know where you're seeing those at. That'd be great. But the common red poll is an eruptive species coming not every winter to our area, but this year has been a pretty good year for them. And they're about goldfinch size, just a little smaller, with a yellow beak and a red spot on the forehead. The males have a rosy red breast. Real pretty northern finch. And so if anybody else has been seeing common red polls, we'd love to hear that as well, where you've been seeing them. I did get a report that I'm going to add in to this segment from Kelly Rice from Nunica, that she saw red polls in her backyard, and she commented, and this is what we love to hear, that she was glad that Coffee with the Birds encouraged her to look for them. And we appreciate that comment. I'm glad that we're helping you to identify the birds even at your own feeders by what we're seeing here or what we're talking about on Coffee with the Birds.
So we've got lots of comments. Red polls in Borculo and Fruitport.
Borculo and Fruitport, red polls.
And we've got listeners in Hudsonville, Zealand, Jenison, Illinois, Asheville, Grand Rapids, Ohio.
Wow. So we've got Ohio and Illinois. We've got Jenison, Hudsonville. What else did you say? Borculo, Zealand, Allendale, Grand Rapids. Excellent. Excellent. All the way to Ohio and Illinois, too. Welcome. You guys in Illinois had to come an hour earlier, so that's excellent. Well, on the camera, we've got Cardinal, as well as on the left there. That's an American tree sparrow. You can see the gray breast with the dark spot. That's a winter sparrow. And then we've also got a house finch on the right, hopping around there. So just like the junco, the American tree sparrow is a wintertime visitor here, only here in the winter. This is south for the winter for them. You can see the bicolored bill. The lower mandible is yellow. The upper mandible is dark gray. It's got the two white wing bars, and in better lighting, you can sometimes see the rusty red cap on the head. So house finch, there's the junco just came through the back there. Bird species we've seen today. Oh wow, Jess is on it. Red poll, American goldfinch, dark-eyed junco, black-capped chickadee, red-bellied woodpecker, downy woodpecker, American tree sparrow, house finch, cardinal. Earlier we had mourning doves, of course, the pileated woodpecker, but since we've started the program, this is our list. We're off to a good start. There's some good finch activity over there on number 4 again, too. The birds are slowly coming back, and that's what happens when you get a threat coming through like a hawk. Slowly they'll start coming in. Usually it's the chickadees that come in first. They're the brave ones. And now the finches are starting to show up. And when the finches start showing up, you know that things have settled quite a bit. So we should be getting some more activity here very shortly. I did want to address another question that Kelly Rice had from Nunica. So she's the one that commented about seeing the red polls at her feeder. But she also asked, I'm curious to know what percentage of bluebirds migrate from our area versus stay. I believe we are on the northern extent of their year-round range. We do see them year-round, sometimes more often in the fall and winter than the summer, and they sometimes are attracted to our bird bath. And you're exactly right. We are at the northern extent of their year-round range. And if you've got that slide pulled up there, Rick, if you want to slip to it for just a moment, here's this is an actual picture by Kelly Rice of the bluebird at her bird bath. And you can see to the left over there, the range map. The purple represents where they are year-round. And we are at the northern end of that year-round range. So yes, we can find eastern bluebirds here in the winter. The only thing is, I don't have a specific answer as to percentages, but certainly they are much less common and more localized here in Michigan in the winter. They tend to flock in larger groups and not just pairs, and they like areas where there are field edges and plenty of berries, and especially if there's a little bit of open water, like a little seep or drainage, something like that. And they'll flock to those areas in particular when everything else is frozen. Several birds can even stuff themselves into one nest box for roosting overnight to conserve heat. So pretty hardy little birds. A lot of people don't realize that they stick around in the winter, but they do. Many will migrate out of here, but some will stick around, and it may even be the more hardy northern nesters that actually come and overwinter here. Hard to tell, but they do spend the winter here. So thank you so much for your question. Related to that, you can see photos by Ron and Marcia Brink up here of robins in the bush by their yard. And they commented, we had a large flock of robins show up for a bit yesterday afternoon to fuel up on various berries in our yard and the neighbors in Allendale. So do we get to count these as first robins of the spring? Smiley face. I love the comment. And I'll add to that another sighting too. Chris Sprick from Holland says, for the last week or so, I have been having several robins attend my heated bird bath. It seems too early for them to be here. Do they forget to head south? So answering the questions, it's pretty much the same answer as what I said for the eastern bluebird. They become much less common in the winter, but they are here. And they like the same kinds of areas with lots of berries, also where there's thawed ground, where there's a seep or a spring. And they'll even show up on ornamental trees and yards and things like that, often in flocks for just a short period of time, eat all the berries and then leave. Cedar waxwings do that as well. But you can also see the range map. We are in their year-round range. But since they flock together and they use a different habitat, and they're not all spread out across the landscape and there's not as many of them, then we don't tend to see them. So was it the first of spring? Actually, probably not. These guys have an advantage over the others that migrated further south because they're here earlier to get the best nesting locations come spring. So there's an advantage to it, and they have to weigh that in the balance as to if they stay or if they go. If things get real cold, they may vacate the area and head somewhere else. I will say, ironically, I was putting this together and yesterday, well, actually 2 days ago, I saw a flock of robins. I was out in Forest Hills area and actually was in a meeting looking out the window, and I see birds everywhere I go. And I looked across the table, I looked outside. My wife was there with me, and we looked out. I said, there's a flock of robins out there. Sure enough. I had to pause for a minute and enjoy the robins. And then yesterday I was skiing at Pigeon Creek, and guess what? I had a robin. So they are around. Not only that, but before I went skiing at Pigeon Creek yesterday, we were setting up here. And can you switch it to that video? One more thing, the feeder traffic is picking up slowly, but I want to show you this video. Then we're going to show you some more birds. So yesterday, while we were setting up here, suddenly a couple of birds flew in. And one of you, who was it, said, is that a robin? And sure enough, there was a robin perched up between the feeders. And is it working? It will be a blank screen. It will be a black screen. It's the black screen. Can you undo it? Or create a new slide and just enter it in? We're getting to it. We'll get to the video. I think our slide accidentally got deleted, but that's all right. We'll get to it. So a couple of robins showed up, and they didn't come for the seed because they don't eat seed. Oh, hairy woodpecker on the feeder here. Excellent. Hairy woodpecker, longer beak than a downy and 2 inches larger than a downy, but virtually identical plumage-wise to a downy woodpecker. And there's a nuthatch in the backdrop there. You could see it fly away. So notice how far out from its head that beak sticks. That's a real good identifier of a hairy versus a downy. House finch on number 8. We've got a few goldfinches on number 4. House finches, juncos, a hairy and a downy woodpecker up in the trees above. Not on the feeders right now. Nuthatch. Dated. Because then it'll show up black on there because it has a fade in. That's why it's black. We're working on it. We'll get to the video. While we're doing that, I'm going to take a bite of my donut. Okay, we're all set. Rick, you want to switch it over to the video while we've got it? All right, here's the video. You can see the 2 robins. They didn't come in to feed. They came in to get a drink out of the water. The less and less open water there is, the more concentrated it is that they'll come to whatever open water sources they can find, because even Pigeon River is pretty frozen up right now, and it stays open longer than most other rivers because it's fed by spring water, and so it stays open. But we've got a heater in this unit here to help keep things open there. Excellent. Thank you. Success. We got it. That was not live. That was from yesterday, but pretty exciting day yesterday to watch the pileated woodpecker and then watch the robins, and again the pileated woodpeckers today. Yeah, we're getting quite a bit more activity. Underneath number 8 is getting pretty busy there, Rick. And there's a cardinal on number 8 as well. If you want to even switch the... You only have so many hands and arms, I know. Rick's doing an awesome job. We've got a couple of new camera setups, stills on number 1 and number 8. And then he's got a mobile camera that pans around to wherever else there's activity. So... Oh, I should mention, while we were talking about the pileated woodpecker, we had a comment from Carl and Judy in Park Township that they had 14 species of birds at their feeders the other morning, and that included a pileated woodpecker. 2 days prior to that, a pileated woodpecker was at their feeders as well. So excellent. Others of you are seeing pileated woodpeckers at the feeder. There's a white-breasted nuthatch on the suet. It's not just woodpeckers that eat the suet. The other birds do too. That is a male white-breasted nuthatch. You can tell by the dark black cap on the head. Actually, I apologize. That's the female. I have to see it in real light. I was looking at the screen, and it's helpful to look at it in real light. That is actually the female. It's got a little bit of a gray tinge to the cap. The male white-breasted nuthatch actually has a jet black cap. Oh, excellent. We've got a downy and a hairy woodpecker at the same time on the suet feeder. Now you can see the difference. I love it when that happens. They're perfectly profile for you, too. The hairy woodpecker is the larger bird on the left. The downy woodpecker, the smaller one on the right. 2-inch size difference, like I said before. The hairy woodpecker tends to be, and the hairy is a male. The downy is a female. There's no red on its head. There's a red patch on the hairy. The hairy woodpecker tends to like larger tracts of forest, The downy woodpecker is our most common woodpecker in neighborhoods and things like that. So it's our most likely seen bird at a feeder. Although haries do visit feeders, and I've even had it in my suburban neighborhood, oddly enough. So because we're in a nice forested situation, the hairy woodpecker is a regular visitor at our feeder. I have seen up to 4 haries at one time, amazingly. So back to what I was talking about, Carl and Judy had 14 species at their feeder. How many birds are you seeing at your feeders? What are the highlight species that you're seeing? What's your high count for numbers of species? Or maybe even beyond your yard, how many species of birds have you seen this year in Ottawa County or further beyond? Go ahead and comment in the chat there, and we'd love to hear from you. Here's house finches on number 8. That's a male there at the front. Very nice, vivid red coloration. This is the common of 2 finches that get confused oftentimes, the purple finch and the house finch. The bird on the left there of that feeder is the female house finch with no red on it at all. And the male is red on the face and on the breast, and there's an even redder bird. Yes, I know, you wanted to get the attention too. I'm talking red birds, so the cardinal had to show up. But the house finch male is nice and bright red on the breast and on the face. Also on the rump. There's a chickadee, flew in on number 8 there. Rick is doing an excellent job catching all these birds. I appreciate his help with the setup here. So, any comments coming in?
We got 10 million house finches.
Oh, look at that. Look at this shot of the downy and hairy woodpecker. Somebody's going to have to take a screenshot of that.
Yeah, for real.
That is too good right there. One way to tell these guys apart when you don't see them next to each other is look at it in comparison to the feeder that they're on. So if you think you're getting both, compare it to what it's landed on. Look at how the downy woodpecker does not overextend the length of the feeder, but the hairy woodpecker very easily does. So that's one way to help. Oh, we've got the common redpoll is back on number 4 on the bottom right side. Common redpoll. Oh shoot, it just flew, and it flew up into the tree here. It's probably going to come back down. We'll see if we can get you a more extended view of the common redpoll. It took a little while for these birds to start coming back, but number 4 has got a good amount of traffic. Maybe keep it on that for a little bit, see if that redpoll comes back.
We had, Lonnie says we had 52.
Oh, there's the redpoll.
doves.
52 doves. There's the redpoll on number 4. We've got it on the screen, except for I'm in the way. Sorry. There we go. Take me out of there. There's the common redpoll. Oh, there he goes. Excellent. Thank you. You can always ditch me for the birds. Oh, good catch. Good catch. We're going to have to mark that on the time there so I can link to that moment there. When I send out the video later today, or at least when I send out a link on Saturday, I'll try to have some shortcut links to different parts of the program so that you can link right to the part that you want to show somebody about the common redpoll or when I talk about a certain thing. So I'll try to put those on there so you can easily scroll through. Oh, there's the robin. The robin is back in the bird bath. I don't know if you can see him, Rick. It's kind of a steep angle. But the robin is back. Wow. Yes, there it is. Excellent. And the other robin, too, is sitting up in the branch above now. Sitting above the branch. There, it's coming down. There it is. Oh, what a treat. Proof positive we have robins in the winter. This is live. This is not a video grainy like I had earlier. So this beats that. Should have never shown that if I'd known this. Oh, well. That shows what kind of videographer I am with my little iPhone of the birds. But there they are, getting a drink as the snow falls. Is there anybody else out there who's been seeing robins? I'd love to hear from you. Oh, Rick himself is seeing robins.
Some robin sightings.
Oh, good. Other robin sightings too.
Has one right now.
Oh! Sorry about that. Chris Brick has one right now alongside of us. That's awesome. I love that. Oh, they're bathing too.
Lots of robins in Hudsonville.
Lots of robins in Hudsonville. Excellent.
We have lots of questions about the great backyard bird count for us, so I promised you would talk about that.
Oh, she's promising things. Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. That is one of the topics I wanted to bring up, and I forgot to mention it last session in January. So we've already missed one day. But the Great Backyard Bird Count is an annual count of the birds at your backyard or wherever you want to go and count them. It doesn't have to be a backyard. I've got a mourning dove way back there. You won't be able to catch it on the video, though. I'll let you know if it comes in. But the Great Backyard Bird Count is an annual count where everybody counts the birds at their feeders or their local birding hotspot and reports their numbers to the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. And National Audubon takes part, as well as Birds Canada takes part, alongside of Cornell in the Lab of Ornithology to collect a lot of data on bird sightings every winter, year after year after year. And that data goes to help with information about ranges of birds, about populations of birds, fluctuations of populations, and maybe annual fluctuations of birds. It's simply all you have to do is bird for 15 minutes or more, at least once over the 4 days, and tell them what you see. If you want more information on the backyard bird count, I have it on our discussion page. So if you look and maybe Jessica can even go directly to the Great Backyard Bird Count and put it in the comments. That would be great. Because otherwise they have to jump through a couple of hoops to get it from me. But I think it's already done. She's on it. Jess is on it. This is why I require all this help to get the job done. Go onto their website. You can sign up. It'll sign you up to eBird, and you can enter your data in on eBird. If you're already on eBird, no worries. Your data is going to the Great Backyard Bird Count. Just use your mobile app or enter it right online. Just got to make sure that you bird for 15 minutes straight. No less than that. So even a 15-minute checklist at your feeder is great. But if you want to spend more time, obviously that's fine too. It just has to be at least 15 minutes. If you're new to the count, you can try the Merlin Bird ID app. Merlin Bird ID. If you get that on your phone, it's an awesome way to learn how to identify birds. We've got some mourning doves coming in now too. On number 8? We've got a goldfinch. Oh, on number 8 over there. Okay. We're seeing a bird over here. Got it. Oh, yeah, house finch. House finches. Yep. The Merlin Bird ID app is a great way to help you identify the birds that you're seeing at your feeder. You can enter in the description of the bird, and it'll give you good options of what you're seeing based on where you are in the time of year. So it's an excellent, excellent app. It's free. And it gives you good pictures, and you can hear the songs. There are the mourning doves. Excellent. And there's also, as a part of this, free access to the world of, Birds of the World Online Encyclopedia through the Cornell Lab, which is birdsoftheworld.org. So it's just a trial run while the count goes on. The count goes through the 15th. It started yesterday, so you can do counts all weekend long. and through the 15th to help out the Lab of Ornithology as well. I'll be doing a count here. I'm a little distracted, too distracted to do the count right this moment, but maybe when we're done with this, I'll do a 15-minute count of the birds here at the feeder too. So yes, if you want to get involved with that, please do, and they'd love to have it. If you want to switch to that slide just for a moment, so that there's a cue in the yeah, there it is. Great Backyard Bird Count, February 12 to 15. Participating is easy, fun, and all the resources are there, so you can always come back to this part of the video if you need to see the information there. But would love to have you involved in the Great Backyard Bird Count. And again, it doesn't have to be your backyard. You can go birding at the local park or your favorite bird haunts for the winter. So, thank you. Lots of goldfinches at the feeder. Lots of mourning doves on the ground. Yes?
Ebert has reported a recent sighting in Ottawa County of a Lapland longspur. Have you seen one?
Thank you. Yes. Lapland longspur. I don't have a picture for you right offhand. I'm sorry? Oh, did you see the red pole? Oh, no, that's the house finch. House finch on number 4. We'll see if we can get a longer view of the red pole if it comes back. But Lapland longspur, good question. Yes, Lapland longspur sightings have come in the last little while here in Ottawa County. The longspur is a sparrow-type bird of the open farmlands. It likes open areas and not forests. And it is, I want to see, I won't be able to get a picture in on here. I want to try something a second. You're going to Google a picture of a Lapland longspur? Is that what you're going to do?
I can do it. Yeah.
Okay, or even go onto the All About Birds website. If you pull that up on the screen over there, then we can even show them the All About Birds website for Lapland longspur. That's a great way to do it. So if you are curious about any particular bird species, allaboutbirds.org is the best first resource to go to. Got a red-bellied woodpecker on 10. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 mourning doves out there too. Well, there goes the red-bellied. And that makes a dozen mourning doves. There's a whole bunch of them on the ground out there. But the allaboutbirds.org is a great website. And Rick, if you want to flip it to that just real quick. Here is the Lapland longspur. And it is not showing. Not sure why. Theoretically, it should be showing you a Lapland longspur right now. But the picture that you will see, if we can get it up there, is actually of a springtime bird. Oh, there's blue jay over by number 8, underneath number 7 there. So that's a new species for the day. He just flew up. I'll see if I can even pull it up here on my phone to. They're kind of nondescript in the wintertime. So this is what they look like. Ooh, yeah, that's not going to show very well. At least it's better than nothing. There. It's really blurry, I know. Lapland longspur in the springtime. If you want to save an image and even put it in on the PowerPoint, that would work. But get a picture of a wintertime bird.
Well, I just had the spring one out now.
Well, you can do that, but
Right,
the spring picture, there it is. There's a spring picture of a Lapland longspur. Thank you. And the Lapland longspur breeds in the Arctic, okay? We're talking Alaska and northern Canada, way north of the Hudson Bay, okay? Way north. And they winter down in the central United States, including Michigan. They are down the East Coast too, but they're more common in the central plains because that's kind of their habitat. They like wide open spaces. If you're driving out in Iowa or Nebraska in the winter and you see a huge flock of birds swooping out over a farm field, it's very likely Lapland longspurs. So they winter down here in the United States. Here's the, if we can see the range map. There you go. It's kind of blurry, but if you know your geography, you can kind of make it out. The blue is wintering, the yellow is migration, and the orange there is, the orangish red is breeding territory. So the darker blue areas are the more common areas to find them. They can be found here in winter. Typically, they're found late winter, and that's because really migration has kind of started, believe it or not. These wintering species are starting to migrate, the ones that were further south. So horned lark and Lapland longspur are two species that will start moving and increasing in numbers here in Ottawa County over the next few weeks and into March. So the sighting of Lapland longspur out in the farm country near Borculo is not uncommon. It's uncommon. They're hard to find. They're a good, notable bird, but it's not surprising that they're being seen right now. If you want to see one yourself, you drive the farm roads like you would be looking for a snowy owl, and that's the habitat. So if you watch my snowy owl video, learn a little bit about snowy owls, drive the open farmland roads. They sometimes flush off the roads, as do the horned larks. And they can be pretty hard to see, especially if there's corn stubble out there. They blend right in because the picture that we showed was not a winter picture. If you can switch it back, Rick, we've got a picture of what you actually will see. You'll be so impressed. Look at there. Look at there. This is a Lapland longspur. Notice the ear. There's a dark backward C around the ear, flanked by white down the neck. Okay, that's a good identifier right there. That's a key one. And also the rusty red on the wings there, flanked by the wing bars. Plain white on the front with kind of streaks down the side. But they are a sparrow-sized bird, almost always on the ground. And they are sometimes mixed in with horned lark and snow buntings too. So those three kind of go together. I'll give you a hint. Now, this may not be for the squeamish, but for the hardy birder, the best places to look for these guys are fields that have just had manure spread on them. Just saying. Just saying. Manure spread on it. There's lots of little seeds and potentially insects and other things that these birds find in there. And so if you see a freshly spread field with manure, that's a good place to look for Lapland longspur if you truly want to see one. Follow your nose. Follow your nose to the Lapland longspur. Thank you for the question. And thank you for your help, Jess, in getting the pictures up there.
We did have a question about snowy owls. Are we not seeing as many this year since you mentioned it?
I thought your question would be longer. Here I am chewing my donut now.
Sorry. It's kind of fun. I was planning it that way.
Had to wash it down with my coffee. It's getting cold. See, I got to be drinking. Snowy owl. The question is about snowy owls, and you're correct. We are not really seeing many snowy owls out there this year. Their numbers, they came through, and there were a few sightings here in Ottawa County earlier in the season, like December. But since then, there really have not been sightings around. And their numbers fluctuate, and their sightings fluctuate from year to year. So that is correct. They are eruptive as well, so some years we'll see lots. There's at least one time where I had 4 snowy owls pretty much from one location. That's highly unusual. That's highly unusual. But this year, there are no known snowy owls in the area. If you are interested in learning more about how to look for snowy owls, because as we get into March, closer to March, they're going to start migrating too. So migration not only of the horned larks and Lapland longspurs, but also the snowy owls. And as they move, they can stop temporarily at these open farm field areas. So keep an eye out for them. And you can look at the snowy owl video that I made last month for more information on that. And if you can find that link and put it in the comments there, awesome. Jess is on it. If you haven't seen the video, I encourage you to watch it because it goes over how to find them, but how to view them in a safe manner, safe for the bird, and not disturb the bird too much and cause an issue for the bird, because they're such a common, well, that's not common, since they're so fascinating for so many people. A lot of people want to go see them, and if there's not many around and there's you can overstress a bird by too many people seeing one. So I give you some good guidelines on how to view snowy owls. But good question. I did see, if you're headed up north, if you're headed up to the UP, one of the best annual locations to see snowy owls is right off of I-75 in Rudyard, Michigan. There's a road, Center Line Road, just to the west side of I-75. That if you exit there and take Center Line Road, that's the typical spot people see snowy owls. And sometimes you can see them even from I-75 at that location. So if you're headed up that way, that's a good place to look for them. Almost every year they're there. There was a couple of years ago I was up there, and it was a good snowy owl year in the UP, and we had over a dozen snowy owls in about an hour and a half time of looking for them. I was up there on a birding trip and seeing a lot of other birds too. And so we spent a little bit of time looking for snowy owls, and man, they were everywhere. That's not common. I think there's the note was that there were a couple of them up there right now. So, but thanks for the question about snowy owls.
I have another question for us.
Okay.
How often do we clean our feeders?
How often do you clean your feeders? Depends on how diligent a cleaner you are. You know, there are different recommendations out there, and anywhere from a few weeks to, you know, a few months or whatever. It depends on how dirty your feeders are getting. It depends on how much traffic your feeder is getting. You know, if the birds are all over it, take your feeder in, wash it down, soap and water to clean it. You can find lots of recommendations online, but there's really no one hard, fast rule of thumb. You know, if at the end of the winter season things are well, I would gauge it on how your feeders are looking. If your feeders are looking fresh and fine, it can maybe go for longer. If they're getting, you know, junked up with leftover seeds, with bird droppings, things like that, then it's time to clean them. I don't have a regular schedule for it myself. Maybe I should get on a better, more regular schedule with it. But I would gauge it with how the feeders are looking, and when you fill them, if the seeds are sticking together and things. And obviously, if anything's moldy, take your feeder down and clean it out. We get so much traffic here at these feeders that everything stays pretty fresh, and we keep an eye on it. But good question. I'll see if I can find a resource, a good resource, go-to resource on how often to clean your feeders. I will say you could probably find it pretty easily at the All About Birds website or the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. They usually, if you Google search Cornell Lab of Ornithology and clean bird feeder, they'll probably have some good suggestions for you. Also, Project Feeder Watch is something similar to the Great Backyard Bird Count, but can go all year round, or at least, I believe it's all year round. They also have some great bird feeder recommendations, how to feed birds, how to identify birds, and how they probably have a page on how to clean the feeders. So I don't have a real specific answer for you, but maybe you can look that up. I'll make note to look that up myself and maybe add it to our resources. And by resources, I do mean, here, I need to just say what birds we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of house finches right now. House finches on number 8. But we do have a event discussion resources website that is in the description for this video. But if Jess can even put it into the comments there, then easy access. After every event, if you want more information on some of the topics that we talk about, so for instance, the Great Backyard Bird Count, you can go to this website. and find some links there. If you want more information on bluebirds and robins in the winter, I have some links on the website. Some cool animated videos of their migration and their fluctuations from year to year. So I wanted to make sure you know that that's on there. So there's lots of cool resources that I try to put together, and want to emphasize that if you want to learn more, go to that website, and hopefully the links that I've put on there will help you out. All the birds disappeared again. Rick has been doing such an awesome job getting back and forth to the birds, and they just kind of cleared out here for a moment. I will say there's a few more things that I wanted to bring up. I feel like I'm talking a lot. I want to just see the birds. Come on, birds, come back. Just as soon as I stop talking, then they go away. Could you switch it to the GoldenEye page? So there was a recent sighting, there we go, on Pigeon Lake, not far from the park here, found by Ty Wagonmaker. Shout out to Ty Wagonmaker, great sighting, great find. A lot of you know who Ty is. He's a young birder and an excellent birder, and gets out there and finds a lot of good birds. I do the Christmas bird count with Ty typically, so he's a good friend too. But congratulations to Ty on finding this Barrow's GoldenEye on Pigeon Lake this last week. The Barrow's GoldenEye is an extreme rarity when it comes to Michigan. This is a western species of duck. We do have GoldenEyes here, and you can see in the picture on the far right of the screen, just above my head here, that's our common GoldenEye right there. The Barrow's GoldenEye is on the left, and you can see that kind of a comma white marking on the face rather than just the big blob. And it also has a black back with white windows on its back instead of just more white with just a thin black marking on the back. If you switch it to the next slide there, here's the range maps. You can see why Barrow's GoldenEye is a rarity. These pictures are two pictures that I have taken, but the bottom one was taken in Colorado a little over a year ago, okay? That was in Buena Vista, Colorado. The top picture there was taken in Michigan. I can't even remember where. I think that might actually be Grand Haven. But you can see the difference there between our common GoldenEye. The range map shows that they're much more widespread over the whole United States in the winter in the light blue areas there. And the Barrow's GoldenEye is more of a western species. However, you might note that look up north of into Canada off of Maine there, and you can see there's a little patch. There's an eastern population, and I'm not sure if the ones that we get ending up on the Great Lakes are from that eastern population or not. Hard to tell without any banding information or genetic testing on where they've been feeding. But every once in a while, they do show up here in Michigan. That's not the first time that one has shown up in Ottawa County. Yes.
You just got a shout out because you said Buena Vista the way the locals do.
I know who gave me that shout out too. Lonnie, here's looking at you. Lonnie gave me some great advice when I went to Colorado on where to go see birds, and he used to live in Buena Vista. It's not Buena Vista, it's Buena Vista. He lived there, so he told me, and I said it right. I remembered. Thank you, Lonnie, for the heads up on that. If you ever go, it's beautiful there. It is very beautiful in Buena Vista, Colorado. Thanks for your comment, Lonnie. If you want to switch it back to the feeders, unless there's nothing there, there's a cardinal on 8. There is a female cardinal on number 8. And and it just flew. It knew you were going to put the camera on it. And this happens. When you're watching the feeders, the traffic can fluctuate up and down, depending on if there's a predator, depending on who knows what. But the traffic has definitely died down here.
I have another good question.
Yes.
So even though Lynn has plenty of cleared ground area with seeds for juncos, she's seeing them on her tube and perch feeders more regularly this year. Is that common? I've actually noticed that at my house too. So
Typically, juncos feed on the ground. Will they sit on a feeder to feed? Yes, they will. Why they would prefer to sit on a feeder as opposed to the ground, I'm not sure. But I will say this, and June, if you're doing this already, then that maybe negates this whole thing. But I think one of the things that helps a bird to actually want to go on the ground to feed is if you clear spots. So if you see our feeders out here, I'll shovel the snow and have a hard base of snow or a platform of some sort for me to throw the seed onto. Because if it's real fluffy snow, then they don't like to sit in it. It's a lot harder for them to sit in it. So that may have something to do with it, but typically they are on the ground. Maybe if it's just one or two birds, they don't like to be on the ground alone. Not sure. I'm just kind of guessing off the top of my head, but that's an interesting observation because typically they are on the ground, but they will come to feeders on occasion here. In fact, this morning I did see a junco on our number 9 thistle feeder of all feeders. What was it doing on the thistle feeder? I don't know. I haven't seen it there since. But good question. Wish I had a more specific answer, but try clearing the area underneath your feeders. This is a good practice for any wintertime bird feeder setup because if there's any spillage from your feeders, it goes onto a hard surface that ground feeders like doves and cardinals and tree sparrows and juncos can feed on. And then you can even toss some seed directly out onto it to help attract those birds that prefer to feed on the ground. Because there are just some birds that prefer to feed on the ground. And you might get more of them if you provide them an area to do that. Another way to do that is with a platform feeder. You can do platform feeders close to the ground too. Good question, thank you. I see you got the nice overall picture there. Can you turn just a little left there and then you can kind of see how I've carved out the area left and down a little bit. You can kind of see how I've carved out the area down there. You can kind of see it beyond the number 5. So that's all shoveled out. And you can see that the snow is coming down here. Not real hard, but it's already covering up some of the seed that I've tossed out on the ground. But you can see the walls of snow around the area that I've shoveled out. Some of that's so that I can walk out there and feed the birds, and some of it so that the birds can have a place to feed. There's a lot of snow out there right now. I'm just saying, those of you who are not here in West Michigan, we've got a lot of snow right now. We had a lot of lake effect snow. We had a couple of storm fronts come through. So it is winter here in Michigan. You can probably tell it versus the last time we did this in January, how much more snow we've got. And it's wonderful. I love it. I've gone cross-country skiing, cross-country ski birding, and there may or may not be a video in the future about cross-country ski birding at Pigeon Creek. Just saying, maybe. Yeah, it's been great to get out. In fact, I was out there again yesterday. Like I said, I saw the robin yesterday when I was out at Pigeon Creek, skiing with my binoculars. Yes. I can't be parted from my binoculars. What can I say? I'm just going to look over my notes here real quick and see if there's anything that I'm missing before we go into the birding tidbit. We're going to do that in a few minutes. We don't have to start it right away because it's a little shorter than others, but there's not a whole lot going on out there. You know what we'll do? I think what we'll do is we'll do the birding tidbit right now. And if we've got spare time after that's done, we can just watch the feeders for a little while longer. Definitely. And maybe what we'll do afterwards, if there's not a whole lot of traffic, is we'll go over the feeders each individually and tell you what's in them and what we're feeding the birds. I had that on my notes to potentially mention. And so we can do that when we return. Can you switch it to the intro slide for that? Okay. So we're going to start the birding tidbits here. Bite-sized presentations on anything bird related. I like to do birding profiles of different species. I like to do, different identification things. Last time we did snowy owl identification. But I also like to do birding stories, because birding is about the experiences that we have and the time that we have with others and sharing those experiences. This birding tidbit story is a story about Ovenbird, teacher of the woods. And in order to get this done the way I wanted it to, I did pre-record this. It may look like I'm still sitting where I am, but I did pre-record this so that I could have some of the visuals on the side with me. So I hope that you enjoy going on this journey with me with this program, Ovenbird, teacher of the woods. Here we go. Oh, if it gets a little laggy, refresh your screens or refresh your computer, and it may be that the video gets a little laggy, but the audio has been working well. So stick with the audio. That's the most important part. Oh, you know what? Pause on that. We have a pileated woodpecker coming in. All that lead in, and we do have a pileated woodpecker coming in. I think we should pause on this for a minute, don't you think? Rick is working on getting it. It's way up in a tree in the back. It's not on the feeder right now. Sorry, but you know what? We interrupt for the birds because they're the stars of the show. And if we can get a pileated woodpecker visual for you, that would be grand. I would love it. Do you see him? I see him up there. Oh, here he's coming in. He's coming in. Hold still, guys, and let's be real quiet. If I whisper, it's because they can hear me outside. So I'm going to be real quiet. He's behind a tree for Rick right now. He's on that typical tree right behind where you're at. So yes, we are getting the pileated woodpecker coming in. He's right back there-ish. If we're still long enough, he will come in. A little bit of patience. That's what it takes to be a birder. A little bit of patience, and you will be rewarded. These guys are a little wary, I should say, not weary, wary in coming in. They tend to be skittish, and they always check out the scene before they come in. Are you able to see it from there, Rick? You might want to come a little left. Oh, there he is. I think you've got him. Yep, there he is. Oh, peekaboo. Peekaboo. There's the other that just flew in. Did you see it fly by? Excellent. So we've got the pair. There's been a pair coming in. There, you see him on the right side of the screen. Trying to get the focus right through all the branches is not easy. When you're looking through, oh yeah, I see both of them at the same time. I'm going to get my binoculars on them. Yep, it's the male and the female. The female is coming in right now to the feeder. It's actually not on the feeder, it's on the branch right above the waterfall, on the tree above the waterfall. It is coming in. This is a first for Coffee with the Birds ever. It's on the woodpecker tree. There it is. Oh, yay. A little left. There it is. You got it. Oh, they're both on together. Look at that. I hear the blue jay coming in. Hopefully it doesn't scare them off. I wonder if the lesser amount of traffic at the nature center and activity in this room has allowed them to get used to coming into the feeders here, because I've not seen it quite like this before, where they're consistently coming in like this. This is the second time today that the pair has come in. We'll see if we can get them all the way to the feeder. I knew something like this would happen right when we were starting the tidbit. I knew it. I actually had that in my mind. Played out that scenario. So if we stay over a little bit past 11, hopefully you can forgive us. You can see how they back down. Watch the movement of the tail as they back down. The support that it provides as they go down. Oh, what he ate there. He ate something. Is that focused? Not there. We go. We're gonna run silent here for a moment, see if it'll come in. Come on. So close. The tree that we're seeing them in is actually the trees that come up out of the brush pile. So they're in the trees right above the waterfall, just to give you an idea. Here it comes. Now it's on the maple. This is the last step it usually takes before coming into the feeder. It backs down this maple tree and then will come either into number 5 or to number 10, one of the 2 suet feeders. They've been using both. The pileated woodpecker is an impressive species, the largest species in North America if you don't count the ivory-billed woodpecker, if it truly is extinct. There, it's on number 10. It doesn't like that black. Look at that. Look at that treat. That's the male. You can see the red comes all the way down the forehead to the bill, and it's got red on the cheek. The male, it's called the malar stripe. The female is coming down the tree behind it and may over to number 5, but I've got both right here. So the female is doing exactly what the male did a moment ago and is backing down the maple tree right behind and above the male. It's a little higher. A little higher. You got his tail. There it comes. Look at that. Oh, I like that. Get both of them. We're going to take the time to soak this in, aren't we? I think it's focusing beyond. Ooh, he's got his crest raised. Something got him. And there it goes. One flew. They're on to us, I think. That's the female. Did you see the forehead is not red? It's kind of a grayish. It's still on the back of that tree. There it is. That's the female. You can see the black malar stripe and the black-gray forehead. The pileated woodpecker is kind of a neat comeback story for one species here in Michigan. Used to be much more widespread across the state in mature deciduous woodlands, and as those woodlands were cut, the bird disappeared. And I even remember, not entirely disappeared, just became much less common, especially in the southern end of the state, and it just flew off, especially in the southern end of the state. But what's been happening is that patches of woodlands have been returning. It's been that long since the logging era. There are now more a growing amount of mature deciduous woodlands, and these birds have been returning in great numbers. I remember even as a kid, it was quite a sight to see one. They were more unusual then than they are now, and so not that they're common everywhere. There are notable species anytime you see it, but definitely more common than they used to be 20, 30 years ago. And they even have been sighted for the first time in over 100 years in places like Monroe County by Detroit. So neat comeback story for this species that depends on real mature deciduous woodlands for their habitat. And it is flying further off there. What a treat. Whew. High fives. Virtual high five. Pileated woodpecker, folks. Okay, I'm kind of lost for words now. I think we can maybe try to get back on track to the birding tidbit. That's where we were, isn't it? That's where we were. Yes, thank you. Write it on the list. We're writing it on the list. Got to add that species to our list for the day. Birding tidbit. So this is a story, and I hope that you enjoy the journey that I take you on with this birding story, Ovenbird, Teacher of the Woods. And without explaining too much, the ovenbird is a very special bird to me, and this will explain a little bit of the story of why. And so enjoy Ovenbird, Teacher of the Woods, and we'll be back in about 12 or 13 minutes to wrap up. Thanks for tuning in today for this birding story tidbit, Ovenbird, Teacher of the Woods. I consider myself a pretty serious person, often interpreting the world around me through the world of birds. Michigan's woodlands are home to the ovenbird, and it has become a very special bird to me. As a teacher of the woods, it has had a particularly significant influence on me, as I hope it does for you as well, because the ovenbird teaches us lessons about itself and our own connections to nature. The ovenbird is a chunky, sparrow-sized bird in the warbler family, as you can see by the picture to my right. It has an olive back and wings, a white breast with dark black streaks on it. It even has pink legs and an orange crown that's flanked by black racing stripes. Ovenbirds spend much of their time on the ground, skulking around in the leaf litter, flitting its tail, and flipping over leaves in search of insects and other things like worms, roly-polies, centipedes, millipedes, and such. In fact, it nests on the ground too. The ovenbird's name refers to the nest it builds on the ground, which to some resembles a Dutch oven, pictured here. Additionally, its scientific name, Cirrus auricapillus, literally means golden-haired tail shaker, referring to the fact that they flit their tail and that they have this orange crown on their head. They are secretive with their nests, and in order to keep them safe, they drop to the ground when approaching them, but far away from the nest. And then they walk to it in a very inconspicuous manner, making the nest nearly impossible to locate. I first visually encountered an ovenbird in 1997 while on a semester abroad program in Belize, Central America. I was fascinated as I watched it forage in the leaf litter of the rainforest around the structures of our raised cabanas and walkways, as you can see here pictured. A significant cultural connection impacted me when I learned that while in the tropics, ovenbirds often forage in coffee plantations, eating insects that damage the coffee plants. Now, I love a good cup of coffee, especially while watching birds at the feeders. So it was good reason to appreciate an ovenbird. A couple of small coffee companies have even named themselves after the bird, as you can see the logos here to my right. The following spring in 1998, I again encountered the ovenbird in northern Michigan while studying natural history in spring at the Au Sable Institute for Environmental Studies. A significant migratory connection was seared into my mind as I recalled the bird I had seen that winter in Belize. Ovenbirds migrate to Central America and the Caribbean tropics for winter, as indicated by the range map here. And then they return to the deciduous forests of eastern North America to nest in spring and summer. In fact, later in life, I would encounter ovenbirds in many more places, including wintering in the Dominican Republic, migrating through the dry tortugas of Florida, from the southern end of their nesting range in North Carolina, where I lived and worked for 8 years, to the northern end in Ontario, Canada, and the western portion of its range in Nebraska. But there's no better place to encounter them than in the woodlands of Michigan. And that is where we return to now. While taking the course at Au Sable in 1998, we were required to learn a variety of bird songs, including the ovenbirds. The ovenbird perches in the low to mid-story, belting out and echoing and intensifying teacher, 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 teacher. It's a much louder singer than its size would indicate. In fact, to achieve maximum volume, it violently convulses its body while it sings. Picture this while I play the song for you. Something about that song resonated with me in a way that all of the other bird songs I was learning didn't. It was familiar to me, and at first I didn't know why. But then it dawned on me. I had actually been with this teacher of the woods all my life. I had heard that song countless times as a child, hiking with my dad, as a part of the Symphony of the Michigan Woodlands. The ovenbird's song had become a song in my subconscious, synonymous with the experiences of hiking in the woods with my dad. Some of my fondest memories of growing up are of my time adventuring with him, hiking, camping, and exploring in the Michigan wilderness. Those experiences ultimately fostered my love of nature. That song now takes me to many special and remote places where I felt free, exuberant, and special to my dad. It takes me to places where the woods were never ending and the rest of the world just disappeared. Its song was teaching me about our human connection to nature and our emotional connections to our experiences in it. Along the way, these experiences taught me about the importance of wilderness and the need for wildlife, including the ovenbird, to have large tracts of habitat for their survival. Ovenbirds prefer large tracts of mature deciduous woodlands. As humans fragment these large tracts of forests, it becomes more difficult for creatures such as the ovenbird to flourish. When forests are cut or roads built through them, invasive brown-headed cowbirds threaten ovenbird nests with their parasitism of eggs, and there is more competition for resources with the birds of edge habitats pushing ovenbirds into smaller and smaller spaces. I also realized the importance of wilderness to myself and all humans to build our own emotional connections to nature that mature us into people who care for it as responsible stewards of it. That would help us to flourish as well. I end on one last lesson the ovenbird has taught, through another cultural connection, poetry. This poem by beloved poet and nature lover Robert Frost is a metaphor in which the ovenbird is the poet and Frost the ovenbird. He wonders if the ovenbird's song mirrors his own poetry, loud, repetitive, unchanging, background noise, a diminished thing. Listen to Robert Frost read the poem and see if you hope with me that the ovenbird's song never becomes a diminished thing.
The Ovenbird. There is a singer everyone has heard. Love, the midsummer and the midward bird that makes the solid tree trunks sound again. He says that leaves are old and that for flowers midsummer is to spring is 1 to 10. He says the early petal fall is past when pear and cherry bloom went down in showers on sunny days, a moment overcast. And comes that other fall we name the fall. He says the highway dust is over all. The bird would cease and be as other birds, but that he knows in singing not to sing. The question that he frames in all but words is what to make of a diminished thing.
So how do we keep this teacher of the woods alive, never diminishing? I challenge you to have a role in doing that. Let me explain. I've encountered ovenbirds many places, but the place I think most fondly of is the woodlands of South Manitou Island, where my dad took me as a child and where I've returned as an adult with my kids to give them the same gift he gave me. The ovenbird may have taught me important lessons about itself, ourselves, and our human connections to nature, but my dad gave me the ovenbird. He was my teacher of the woods. He lit the flame of a love for nature, and so I do for my kids as well. Ovenbird's song will never become a diminished as long as we pass it along to someone. Have a teacher of the woods? To whom are you a teacher of the woods? If you would like to pledge to be a teacher of the woods to someone, please let us know. You can either comment on this video or email us at naturecenter@miottawa.org. We can send you a pledge card that you can print as a reminder if you choose. And if you choose to keep this secret and private, that's just fine. But I want to thank you so much for joining me today for this birding story tidbit, Ovenbird, Teacher of the Woods. Thank you. I would like to dedicate this program to my teacher of the woods, my dad, whose influences on me will never become a diminished thing. Please raise your mugs with me to honor him or anyone else who has been your teacher of the woods. Thank you. We're back on? All right. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Sorry about the flashing images. That was something that we were not anticipating. But I'm told that the audio was still good, so if you could kind of ignore some of the flashing, hopefully you enjoyed the program. And my sharing my story about the ovenbird. So if you ever ask me what's my favorite bird, well, I think you all know now what my favorite bird is. And I appreciate you listening to my story. And if you have any comments, or if you would like to be a teacher of the woods to somebody, like I said in the program, let us know in the comments or email us at naturecenter@myottawa.org. And we'd love to hear from you and hear how you are being a teacher of the woods to somebody else. It's that much more of a gift when we can give what we've been given away to somebody else to encourage them in a good thing. So moving on, we're going to wrap this up in just a few quick minutes, but I wanted to show you the goldfinches at the feeder here real quick. There were two common redpolls for a moment. I falsely told Rick to switch to that, and he thought I meant even right at that moment during the program. So sorry about that. That was my fault. I own that. But so you might have gotten a glimpse of those two redpolls there for a moment during the presentation, and then we switched back to the program. So my bad. Sorry about that. Real quickly, since I said I would do this, and then we'll wrap up, I wanted to tell you a little bit about what we're feeding in each of these feeders. This is black oil sunflower hull-less. So it is the no mess black oil sunflower. That's all it is, black oil sunflower without the black hull on the seed. To the left of that, there's a cardinal sitting on number 3. I don't know if you want to even just move the camera. Oh, the red pole is back. There's the red pole again. Excellent. Well, I guess we'll leave it on that for a moment. The number 3 feeder and the number 8 feeder have black oil sunflower with the hull on. So we feed it with the hull off and with the hull on, but it's the same thing. And they do eat both. This is the number 8 feeder, and that has got the black oil sunflower seed in. You can buy that in big bags. It's less expensive than the hull-less, but it does make there's number 3 with the cardinal on it. That is black oil sunflower seed. I like this mesh feeder too because it gives a lot of space for birds to perch on. Also, number 7 and number 9 are thistle food for finches. So for goldfinches, redpolls, they like it as well. Pine siskins. So black Niger seed, or thistle, commonly referred to as thistle. And I like to feed it in these mesh feeders like this as well. Special mesh for actual Niger seed. And it gives them a lot of space to perch on there. I will say you should put some sort of a cover on it to keep moisture out of it, and also daily try to get it out there and take it off and agitate it so that it doesn't clump up with the moisture. So flip the feeder over like that and agitate it. But that is a good feed as well. And then we talked about suet. You've seen the suet. You can get suet cakes at the store. That's a good thing to feed the birds, especially if you like woodpeckers. And then on the ground, I feed a mixture of millet, and I just get straight millet. If you can get straight millet, great. Those mixes that you can get at the grocery store have a lot of junk seed in it that gets tossed and just messes things up. So at Tractor Supply, they've got this one mix that is mostly millet. It's got some black oil sunflower seeds mixed into it, but then I'll mix cracked corn in with that and throw that on the ground. So cracked corn with millet and black oil sunflower seeds on the ground. The squirrels usually like that too. So there's the ground food. Now you can't really see food because the snow is covering it, but they're digging around for it and they love it. The sparrows, the house finches sometimes go down there. The juncos, the mourning doves will feed on that on the ground. And so that's a basic overview of the bird food. I'll mention the bird bath too. We've got a pump that pumps the water around. You saw it with the robins, and we've also got one of those heaters in our pump area of the bird bath. that you put in like a feeder trough at a farm. You know, you get these big things that Tractor Supply has them. Other places, feed and seed stores will have them too. A round disc like this that you plug in, and we put it down in the pump base, and that tends to keep things open enough for the winter. So that's kind of our setup here. Wanted to give you the brief overview of that. And also, the last thing before we do our prize drawing back here is I wanted to let you know that spring programs are now online. So go to our website, myottawa.org/parks, and you can go to the events and the programs page. From there, you can link to the programs page. I'm sure, oh, here we go. You can register online for any of these programs. All programs need registration due to COVID protocols. So even our Wednesday morning bird walks, which run April through May, and even one in the first Wednesday in June. Beginner bird walks on those dates. Eagle walks at Grand Ravines on the 25th of April and the 5th of May. Lakeshore birding in Grand Haven on the 8th of May. There's 2 programs, a lake watch, and then we'll also be walking through the dunes looking for migrating birds. And the big day field trip, it's an all-day field trip, is on the 14th of May, and it'll be focused on the Macatawa River Greenway near Holland. And then also we have a Greenway birding blitz on the Pigeon River on the 22nd, where I'll be doing 4 bird walks pretty much in a row at 4 different sites along the Pigeon River Greenway. So we're trying to highlight all of the greenways. We've got the Lakeshore birding in Grand Haven on the Grand River, Macatawa River Greenway on the big day, and the Pigeon River Greenway birding blitz on the 22nd. So register online. All of our other spring programs are on there as well. And there is no birding filter any longer. It was getting too many filters. So you'll just scroll through, but you have the dates there. So register online. We also have and I meant to say this along with the showing you the golden eyes. If you want to see golden eyes, or if you want to see long-tailed ducks, like maybe you saw the videos that I put out a couple weeks ago about the long-tailed ducks. If you want to see any of those birds, or a Lapland longspur, perhaps, sign up for the winter birding field trips, which are this next Saturday, 1 week from today. There's 2 sessions. There's a fowl, which will go to Pigeon Lake and Lake Michigan, and there's also a birding the Barrens summit in the afternoon. 2 separate programs, but then we'll be going out into the Barrens areas of the farmland of Ottawa County, looking for things like snowy owls, which not too hopeful because there haven't been very many around, but then also Lapland longspurs, horned larks, kestrels and hawks and other things are all to be found out there. Maybe a northern shrike if we're lucky. So register online for that. We'd love to have you join. I think there's a little bit of space left in each of those. But without further ado, there's a nice way to take us out with a cardinal and house finches. We have a prize drawing to do. All Mug Club members get entered into a drawing for a door prize, and this is our door prize today. A feeder, and I've got a bag of sunflower seed in here, hull-less sunflower seed to get you started. So all Mug Club members get entered into this drawing, and I have entered all of them in. So we're gonna shake it up. And I will say the Nature Center is now open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. And then on Sunday from noon till 4. It may be open past 4 o'clock if we have rented equipment out, so it's probably best to show up before 4 o'clock. But you can come and pick up your mugs. If you order a mug, you can pick it up at the Nature Center. And you can also pick up your prize at the Nature Center. Oh, thank you. Yes, one other thing. Mondays is only weather permitting. So long as there's good winter weather to rent snowshoes, we're open on Mondays. Once that's gone, we will not be open on Mondays. So Okay, not looking. Who's the lucky winner? The lucky winner is, oh, you can't see that, can you? It's Connie Peoples. Connie Peoples, you have won this bird feeder. We'll get in touch with you too. If you're watching, please comment and let us know that you're watching. If not, we'll get in touch with you and let you know that you have a prize waiting for you here at the Nature Center to pick up. So thank you for your support as a Mug Club member, and congratulations to you on your new prize. We'll have a grand prize on March 6th, which is our next Coffee with the Birds program. And we'll do this one more time for this winter season, and hope that you can join us. We'll be doing a profile on the tufted titmouse, which was our photo contest winner for our Birding Tidbits program. And we'll also have a little behind-the-scenes look at how we do this right here in the Nature Center, how we do Coffee with the Birds live stream. So we'll show you that at the next Coffee with the Birds as well, and hopefully a few birds too. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you've enjoyed it. It's been nice spending the morning with you. I can't wait for us to be all in person again, but until then, happy birding to all of you, and we'll see you all real soon. Take care and have a great day. If you're still out there watching, I forgot to mention one thing, and that is we had 17 species of birds today. So sorry, Carl and Judy, we beat you by 3. See if you can beat that record. 17 species of birds. Here's the list: common redpoll, American goldfinch, dark-eyed junco, black-capped chickadee, red-bellied woodpecker, downy woodpecker, American tree sparrow, house finch, northern cardinal, hairy woodpecker, tufted titmouse, pileated woodpecker, blue jay, mourning dove, robin, house finch, and white-breasted nuthatch. So awesome. This has been a great day. Thanks for spending it with us. I enjoyed spending it with you. Take care. We'll see you next time.